Friday night. Let's do a weekly close. Let's start off with the dollar. We're still looking at a reverse head and shoulders on the dollar weekly chart. It looks like we got a little pickup, bounce right off the 34. So I'm still looking for some kind of a right shoulder sling back. It doesn't always have to happen. A lot of times the stronger ones will just push right out. Very nice candle here into support, 2-bar reversal right off for support. So now we got a we got a bounce off of the 34, a higher low, and an outside day on the closing on its highs. So lots of reversal evidence going on the dollar. Let's do a longer view here. I remember commenting on the top. So we had a reverse head and shoulder over here, failed. We had a V bottom here, failed as the opposing point and tried. We got a whipsaw coming through it, and then we have a long on a steady incline. We had a reverse head and shoulders coming off of the swing here, and that failed into another reverse head and shoulders. So any way you want to look at it, it's got higher lows, it's got a whipsaw. It had a bottom pattern that broke out. And it could come down a little bit further. But it's a nice higher low on the weekly chart. Oop. So waiting for a break outside the box here, outside the channel. And it's it's a nice bounce off of 34 support line, 2-bar pattern to close the week out. Two things could happen. It could hit resistance and come down and make that shoulder, or just break out. It does look like a nice reverse head and shoulders. So closing on the positive for the dollar for the week. S&P crossed the 8 into the 13 on its highs. So could we get a really nice push next week over the 13, over the 34? Could we do it? Could we do it? And it closed into previous lows. Could make a reverse head and shoulders. I mean, a left shoulder head over the 34, making a right shoulder, and then continue on the trend. I mean, anything's possible, but we got the double top, we got the cross over the 34, the trend. Personally, I think it's going to hit resistance and start bouncing over, but for the week, I mean, it's a nice push over the 8 into the 13. It's likely to retreat a little bit. It did close into previous lows, so on the opposite opinion, it could just ride the range up, make and complete the head, and then we're waiting for the right shoulder, and then maybe it can continue. But I think it's going to hit resistance somewhere. But in order for me to change my mind, it needs to close above resistance, and then it can make the right shoulder, and I would not complain whatsoever. Similar to what it did down here, reverse head and shoulders. I remember trading this. I remember it was the Mitt Romney Obama re-election. I do believe. No, that was 16. That's not possible. Where was that? It was earlier. Was it 11? Had to be here. I remember it falling over, and it just never turned back the whole time Obama was in. And then you can see interest rates go up, and then the market turns over a little bit. Same as real estate. So there you go. It looks like a start of a reverse head and shoulders. If it can get above and gain support, or is it going to flip back, get rejected off the 34.13, come back into the 8 and just kind of make a higher low? Could do that too. Looks like a good start of a reverse head and shoulders, just like it did last time it fell over down here. So one or two things are going to happen. It needs to gain support next week, because if it doesn't do it in a timely fashion, I mean, momentum drops off and it'll kick over. So gain support, or is it going to fall over? Is it going to fall over into a higher low, or is it going to make a double bottom? And if it makes a double bottom, it's going to have a thin line of support, and at that point, it's fall over time. But that's a nice push for the week. So you can see how I was adamant that it's going to fall over. Now I'm like, maybe. So it closed into the range. So maybe next week it'll continue. Because I don't see a rejection off of resistance. That would have been that 8. It didn't even hesitate and went right into the 13. Could continue next week. Let's see how it ends up. Same as the Dow. Not much of a bounce off of support. VIX has got to be coming into a bottom one of these days. Let's see how the daily closed. Looks like a rejection. I think it broke support. J curve, has it come into a bottom yet? I don't know. Could fall into some more support down here, right? Nice forming, but a little rejection off the 8, so maybe lower prices for the VIX. And there's your line of support, the next line. Looks like a rejection for the daily. Weekly, it looks like it's coming into support, so daily's got thin line of support, so let's see if it'll come down a little bit further, $4 more at least. IndieX, little NASDAQ, same as the S&P. I just find it kind of odd that they're always the same damn patterns. What do you guys think about that? Double top, over support into resistance, rejected. I got a nice hammer 3-bar reversal. Nice run into the 13, into previous lows. Same. Trying to figure it out, but we could have a reverse head and shoulders as well. And they just look like all the same charts. It's just amazing, and just find it very odd. I don't know if anyone else thinks it's odd. I think it's odd. I mean, if you go to cryptos, do you see that Bitcoin looks like EOS? It just doesn't, or Ethereum. Doesn't look the same at all. I hate that part about the equities, actually. I always found it very odd and just suspicious that something is not right about equities. Looking either for a rejection as a halfway point on the fall of Apple. I suspect that it's going to there's previous lows at the 8. Nice little bounce, nice little base into resistance. I think it needs more of a sideways action, honestly. Could easily get rejected, as this could be the halfway point, is what I mean. Is the halfway point is, oh, where's my lines? As a halfway point, because Apple got demolished. So I got a drop here. It's not exactly, and what I mean is the halfway point is that is going to be a measured move from the halfway point. And that's pretty drastic, and it could take all year to do it. But I think it's possible that could be a node in the middle, like a meeting line, where once it breaks down, it could just fall into another measured move, where this is the first measured move, and then it goes to the second measured move. It's pretty steep drop. Pretty hard to make a prediction like that, but if it does break down after a base like that, I think that maybe you could suspect it. It's a weekly chart too, so I mean, it could take all year, it could take 2 years, could take forever. Could be back and forth until it reaches its measured move. It's more likely that it's going to come back, snap back into some kind of resistance first. Let's see what happens when it hits the 8. Does it get rejected, or does it go through like it does on the other equities so far? Google, I'm seeing that 2-bar reversal, the hammer over support. I think that we're going to see higher on this one. I think the daily looks like a reverse head and shoulders, if I don't remember. Got a left shoulder head, right shoulder, and maybe a continuation. I got a lot of resistance coming in at previous lows at 1150. So it's not too far away from that. I think I mentioned that stair step into support. Look for previous high breaks. That broke today. Got a lot of resistance coming in. It's under the 34, so it needs a pop above. Maybe pop above, come back into support, see what happens. But we do have a 2-bar reversal, hammer over the 8, and then a continuation. So we got plenty of support going on here. We got the Nikkei, lots of legs. Exhaustion moves on the way down. No real reversal bar, but it is in previous lows now, breaking through the tweezer bottoms, so that's good. Looks the same as the stupid S&P and Dow and the NASDAQ. At the double top, crossover, bearish retrace, and now it's coming through. Let's see if it'll hit that 13 like the rest of them did this next week. Looks like a whipsaw, right? We got higher lows. It broke down and then came back in. And then we have a nice candle to boot. Looks like a 3-bar pattern completing. Let's see what happens when it hits the bearish retrace into resistance. The only problem is we have a whipsaw. So is it whipsawing into resistance? I haven't seen that kind of play in a while, I don't think. Looks like a continuation. Let's get this down a little bit tighter. Let's see if it'll boost past the resistance. It had support, busted down, whipsawed, and it closed inside 2 weeks in a row. So I think that it's going to continue on higher. Crude. I think I commented on this a lot of times. Reverse head and shoulders pop, and then came all the way down into that trend line. Made another reversal pattern, short left head 3-bar pattern into resistance, and busted previous high breaks, closing the day. Look at that, that's nice. That's 2-bar reversal into resistance, into support, and continue. There we go, nice. So we got lines of resistance coming in at the 13 previous lows. And then into the 34. Lots of work to do, but I would suspect higher prices in crude. Natural gas. Things are still cold out there, so I suspect that prices are going to go higher. Nice bust out, nice came in. Did it close that? Did it close the gap? Oh, did I lose it? I lost it. I think I lost internet for their snap. Wow. Look at it, close the gap. and bounced. I suspect that that is a good sign for higher prices on natural gas. Watch for a break into previous lows as it rises through the range into the next set of previous lows across the 34. Let's see if we can get that done this next week. Nice bust out, came into support, so it's a bullish retrace, closing the gap on the Friday. That's pretty nice. Steel. Looks like a 3-bar pattern down here. More not a perfect morning star. 3-bar pattern. But it's pretty damn close. Closing above the previous highs. Into the 8, over the 8, into the 8 for support. So we found some support. We got next line of resistance up in the previous lows. Let's see if we can't get a little push out of this next week. I don't think I have the right uranium. How do we just do the URA, the ETF? What do we... Let's do that instead. I didn't see any movement on this UX one. I don't think I got the right one. Uranium ETF. Weekly, looks like we got I got a falling star at the lows, so it came into support, busted through that higher lows. Let's make a straight line instead on this one. Let's use that line there. So I got a left shoulder, I got a falling star into the head, 3-bar reversal, into the 8, into the 13, closing above both of them for the week. We changed it up a little bit. Global uranium ETF instead of the unmoving. Another whipsaw, left shoulder, whipsaw pass. Let's see if we can get a right shoulder coming in and then make a break for it as the pattern comes to a close. Bitcoin. Weekly close on Bitcoin has not crossed above the 8 yet. So far it looks like a rejection. We do have a cup and handle. The handle can come down not too much more. I don't know. Let's see how this ends up here. We need to get a Bitcoin needs to get above that 8 and ride the train up into the next previous lows, or 50% of the candle where the 13 sits. Could it come down a little bit more? Maybe create a larger pattern, like this is the left shoulder, head. Maybe. See what happens. See what happens. We got our closing higher lows. We need to get above previous highs. Bitcoin, come on. Gold. Let's see how the daily closed. There she is. Finally turned over. All right, so gold, I suspect it's going to come back into support. You can see how far extended out. Now we got 3 bars pointing up. That's the tri-tips. That's a reversal pattern in candlestick terms. 3 wicks pointing up. So let's watch gold come in. Let's watch silver come in. We got tweezer tops. I guess tweezers would be an equal top. So we got 2 wicks pointing up, not tweezer tops. But closing below previous lows, confirming the candle on the way down, breaking into the next. Let's see if we can't find support at 50% of that long candle at, let's call it 15. Gold silver ratio just bumped up today. It broke down. Maybe this is just a bearish retrace. I would love to see this break out though. We're at 83.55 ounces of silver per 1 ounce of gold. If we can break out at 86 again, that would be sweet. I want to see that happen. I really do. Left shoulder head, right shoulder completing on the daily. Double bottom. I don't see a reversal candle on copper, but I do have a outside day bullish into resistance. Maybe a elaborate W. It's got some work to do. Let's see if we can get past the resistance levels for next week. GDX, same thing. It's coming into support. Let's see where that support lies. It's that splash I always talk about. When the 8 comes across the 34, as price comes down to meet it after the push across the 34, making that splash. It's closing on its low, so I don't feel confident that that's it. Maybe it could come down just a little bit more. Let's see how the daily closed. As we got the cross now, it closed below that 34 as well. We have higher lows. Let's see if we can hold support at 20. That's a good roundabout number. GDXJ came into support. The only problem is it's closing on its lows, so I don't think the drowning is done. There's no bounce. It's closing on its lows. So maybe a little bit more coming into support. Let's see if we can't catch previous highs. This nice little hammer over here. Maybe we can stay above that, maybe. We need to close above this little hammer over here for a nice support line. Let's do that. JNUG came into the 34, came back, splashing back. Let's see. It's closing on its lows too, so maybe just a little bit more. I don't like it when it closes on its lows. It's likely to continue for the next week. Closing on its lows again. AG. Let's see how the daily closed. Nice bounce. I got some legs. I wish that the Friday candle, it did close a higher low. Previous high break of 531.